Caroline, hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Great to see you, Caroline. Happy Monday. Our first smile.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everybody.
So good to have you here. Thank you for coming on. So, guys,
No worries.
Caroline's going to be here sharing her story to inspire you guys, and of course, to share some things she's done to accomplish what she's accomplished. But first, Caroline, lots of people here at the very, very start of their journey. They're just beginning, or perhaps they've had a slip, or perhaps they're stuck in a plateau on their journey. So, why don't we go right back to the beginning? And if you can let us know what it was that you were struggling with before we met.
I got to a stage really where I think the best way for me to describe it is I was really tired of being tired. I am in the menopause. That is just the gift that keeps on giving, as a lot of us know. It affects my sleep. I wasn't sleeping properly, which meant getting up in the morning to do an exercise session, I just wasn't feeling it. I'd go to work, I'd get stuck into things at work. I wouldn't leave work on time. So in the morning, I'd be like, oh, I'll do a session in the evening. That didn't happen. I'd come home feeling exhausted and now realize that that was mental exhaustion is totally different to physical exhaustion. The knock-on effect to your quality of sleep is massive.
Yeah.
And I was in this vicious cycle and I'd put weight on, knew I needed to do something, but really struggling with what to do that was different to what I'd tried before. So I'd done Slimming World, I'd done Weight Watchers, I'd tried intermittent fasting. I think all of those were focused on food, primarily focused on food. I'd joined gyms, I'd had personal trainers, and with mixed results, I think, with that, because personal trainers, you could get varying degrees of experience, knowledge.
Yeah.
When you get to menopause, you're dealing with the weight goes on a lot easier, but weight doesn't come off as easy as it did when I was in my 20s or 30s.
Of course.
Massive difference. But if you're working with somebody that doesn't have an appreciation or understanding of that, then your results that come out of that, you feel like you're slogging away and not seeing a result. And that can be a bit soul destroying. I was just got to a point when I joined TSD where I actually was feeling really sad inside, which isn't me. And I was still doing things. I hadn't got to the point where I was hiding away, but I certainly was struggling if we were going out somewhere, because when I was putting clothes on, they didn't fit right. And in the summer, that's an issue because you can't, throw on a big cardigan that covers everything. And I just, honestly, I felt sad inside. Sometimes I would sit on the bedroom floor because the more I was getting het up about going somewhere, that would bring on a hot flush. And you're like, yeah, it's not nice when the person you look at in the mirror isn't a reflection of who you are or who you feel inside. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's where I was.
How many years had all of that, like collectively, been going on?
I honestly think I needed this program for nearly 20 years. The reason I say that, I had my previous partner, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer a month after he turned 40, and completely out the blue. When I say completely out the blue, he was at work on the Friday, taken ill at the weekend, which we thought was just a virus. On the Monday, he was admitted to hospital. On the Tuesday, he had fluid drained from the pericardial sac around his heart. His heart was getting crushed. They had him in hospital, let him out, thinking it was a virus that had gone to his heart. I'd gone back to work, and then we got a call to say, you need to come back in. That we were thinking it was follow-up treatment, but they just sat us down and said, yeah, you've got terminal cancer. They'd analysed the fluid. And I mean, I was 37. He was a month after he turned 40, because that's not supposed to happen. And, you know, your life's supposed to begin at 40. So that was a hard realisation that what you have planned for life isn't always what life has planned for you. And it was kind of, that was, again, your priorities change. Any plans you had, etc., was sort of shelved. You were dealing with what you were dealing with. And, you know, there's no opt-out button. You've just got to dig deep and deal with it. So we were doing that. My mum was diagnosed at the same time with cancer. So it was one of those times, and everybody has it, where you feel like it's kind of coming at you from all angles. And my priority wasn't me, it wasn't my weight, wasn't anything. And to cut a long story short, it was 18 months, bless him, from start to finish, and he passed. That was horrendous, deeply sad, really unfair. And afterwards, that's when I suddenly, you coming home and you've got an empty house, and it's different when you have an empty house and somebody's not coming back. The silence is deafening. So I would come in, and I wasn't particularly watching what I was eating, but I got into a bad habit of having a glass of wine. One becomes two, and that would be night after night. And I think it was 8 months later, I went on holiday with family, with my brother, my sister-in-law and the kids, and we went to France. And after a bottle of wine, we played badminton. My sister-in-law thought, I'll video this, it'll be funny. It was awful. It was horrendous. It was the best thing that could happen to me, because I saw this myself on this video and thought, oh my God, you know.
Like enough is enough kind of moment when you just think something.
Yeah, definitely.
By the way,
So,
Caroline, thank you for sharing what you shared. I can't imagine what that must be like. Not even just to go through it, but even to share it. And if anyone is impacted by what Caroline has just said, please message us. Even if you're not working with us, we'll find a way of having you speak to one of our specialists in emotional trauma. And Caroline, it's always open to you, of course, you know that.
Oh, bless you, thank you. I think, to be honest, it was like having the glass of wine at night or something. It was just numbing pain. I think that's what it was. It kind of just took the edge off it. But when I saw this video, it was, yeah, I need to sort this. So I got a treadmill, started walking. So I'd come home from work, start walking. And so I wasn't having the wine and stuff, and I dropped the weight. And then you get into different routines, then weight creeps up. But then I started things like Slimming World and Weight Watchers. You lose the weight. The problem I've found with things like that is you go once a week. you stay to class, you might chat to a few ladies that you get to know. You don't have the support like with TSD.
Yeah.
The support is glowing because you've got not only yourselves, the professionals, the coaches. The inner circle is, honestly, I get so much from that. I have so much admiration for the ladies and gents, if there are any out there, on that, because you understand the courage, the strength it takes to achieve what they're achieving. And I love it when I see people, you know, putting a post on saying, I've done this today, and a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, I couldn't even think about doing that. And you really, you just know, you know, it makes me smile because you know how they're feeling. And I love that. But that is there 24/7.
Yeah.
And that is massive because you don't see everybody's posts. I go on there a few minutes a day, maybe more at the weekend. I try and like posts, I try and comment on posts, because you know it takes a lot for somebody to post something on there. And if somebody doesn't see your post or doesn't comment, it doesn't mean they don't believe in you. It means they're just not maybe seeing your post, but somebody will. And somebody will understand, will have been through those struggles, will have got some advice for you. And it's there all the time. So if you wake up, you're not sleeping, and you log on,
you're never on your
you
own.
can read a post. Yeah, you can totally resonate. And I find that really
Well, just to
amazing.
kind of like build on what you said there, if you think of it this way, so if we've helped over 3,000 ladies on a one-to-one basis, and we have 15 one-to-one coaches, all different ranges of experience, different knowledge gaps, different degrees, different masters, and they're all sharing with all these individuals. And then people pick up and like latch on to specific strategies and tools more than others, and they're never the same. Like if I had to ask one person what's the top 10 things you've learned, it'd be completely different to someone else's. And then if you imagine you get those 3,500 people who we've helped, and you add all the experience from the 15 coaches we have, plus all of their degrees, and then you put that to one place, it's just consolidating the learning, which means that people just keep growing. Like you could grow from using that in itself. And what have you achieved, Caroline?
So as of yesterday, I got weighed yesterday, so I'm a pound off a stone, which I'm probably on my 10th week.
Yeah.
And I'm really chuffed to bits with that. I didn't think I'd get that in that short time, so I'm amazed. I went to my Pilates class last week. I do an external Pilates class, and I had like a black gilet on that I usually chuck on when I go there. And I tried it a few weeks ago. It didn't quite meet, you know, as much as I pushed it, didn't meet. And last week we were getting ready to go, and we were a bit in a rush, and I just popped it on, zipped it up, and it was like a couple of seconds delay, and I realized it zipped up. And it's little wins like that that absolutely blow my mind. I love it because it's like my Fitbit.
Yeah.
When I did my third 5K park run at the weekend with a friend, and I told you when we spoke, and I said, you know, all the procrastination and stuff, my friend had said to me, I'm doing this park run, do you want to come? I said to you, I'm not a runner, and you picked me up on that about what we say to ourselves. But I'd said to her, yeah, I'll give it a go. So we did it. So we did the third one at the weekend. But I was running and my Fitbit was flopping about on the wrist. So I've had to tighten that. So again, I'm like, oh, little win.
And hang on for a second, I'll pull you up again. There's no such thing as a little win. Every win
A big win.
big win. Exactly. No such thing as a little win. But I love that, Caroline. And you're so receptive to only pull you up on things like that you just take on board. Like, absolutely, you're right, Alex. You take it on board.
Yeah.
What made you trust us, actually? Because I'm talking about trust a lot recently, and with everything online now, it's very easy to not trust. So what made you genuinely trust us at the start?
I think mean at first you popped up on Facebook and you know, you're curious and you have a look, and for me I kind of scrolled past and then there you were again and you kept seeing it. I think your passion and your belief in the program comes over really loudly. When I had conversations, when I started doing TSD, when I met my coach, and I have to say a huge shout out to Rab because he's absolutely amazing, solid, really supportive, but I have no doubt as and when he needs to kick my butt, he will do. But brilliant. I think the whole approach, the whole program is so complex, sort of comprehensive. The people you've got involved on that, the mindset side of it is amazing. I never realized how much I needed that.
Yeah.
And, you know, the diet, the exercise, but the mindset stuff, at how negative we can be with ourselves, and we wouldn't do it with somebody else, but we kind of do. We're quite hard on ourselves and don't actually pick ourselves up on that. But you know, the reading, the presentations, the habit stacking, love that. That's something I've learned. So when I'm getting ready to go to work in the morning and I'm doing my makeup, I'm listening to either the videos, it could be Lorna or Aoife, or sometimes it's yourself. Sometimes I put an audio book on because that was something else. I never really read books because I have a cataract in one eye. I've had a cataract done in this eye, but I'm on screens all day. So sometimes I'm like, the last thing I want to do is read something.
I want to jump in here for a second, Caroline, what you said. The word mindset gets thrown around loads, and people often have a negative view on mindset, thinking it's like happy clappy, jump up and down. If you think about it this way, what we teach you with nutrition and training is knowledge. What we do with behavior change is mindset. Behavior change is how to implement that knowledge. So if we just did nutrition and we just did training and we didn't have a team of psychologists and mindset coaches or behavior change coaches who are specialized and hyper qualified in helping people change behaviors, habit stack, then all this information, it would just be falling on deaf ears. It would be nice to know, but it wouldn't be implemented sustainably. And then you don't get long-term results. So guys, mindset is a word that's negatively construed quite a lot, but like if we don't teach people how to implement change, which is mindset, which is behavior change, then everything else is just, I kind of knew that already, but I'm still not doing it. And I know loads of people watching this can relate to that. And by the way, Caroline, there are so many comments here from you just saying you're inspirational, love habit stacking. Thank you for sharing, Caroline. You're a force of nature. There's so many. Best of luck getting through. There's about 1.5 thousand of them. So best of luck getting through them. But what makes you feel all of this is genuinely sustainable and not going to be like, because you're relatively new in your journey, you're 10 weeks in, like what makes you think it's not going to be a temporary thing?
I think what I'm really enjoying is I'm constantly being challenged, and in lots of ways, you know, you're challenging my thinking, you're challenging my body. The diet, the weight loss kind of becomes like it's almost like an added benefit. It's the whole thing. And I love the fact that you constantly get being asked to create new goals, push yourself further. You know, what are you doing next? Yes, you achieved that, really good, and celebrate that win. But right, what's the next one going to be? And I've never done another program or anything else that's like that. That stops you being complacent. That means you've got to, right, okay, now what? And that's another thing that I get from the inner circle, because when you're watching what other people are doing and you think, yeah, I could have a go at that, or something, it pushes you a bit further. And you don't want to let yourself down, you don't want to let the coach down, but you don't want to let everybody else down.
Absolutely. Because we're all on the same side. Everyone wants the same thing. Like, we all want the same outcome, the same result. And what would you say to someone who is scared, who is not used to doing anything for themselves and is scared of failing?
I would just say, you've got to give this a go. You've really got to give this a go. It is transformational on so many levels, honestly. It's like I'm sleeping, but I'm not sleeping right through the night. And you did say to me on Elite, we will get you there, and I am holding you to that.
Oh, still.
Yeah, the sleeping through the night. But I get up early. I've got myself my song. I listen to that every morning when I'm getting ready. I've started journaling. That was something I was really struggling with. I have started journaling. I do my exercise. And now when I go to work, I feel energized. I'm raring to go. The difference, you've given me my sparkle back, and I feel it, but other people see that. I lost that, and I was feeling really sad. And honestly, in 10 weeks, the difference in how I feel is insane. And on holiday, I did notice a big difference with my stamina.
Yeah.
We went walking and I hit 40,000 steps on my Fitbit. I've never hit 40,000 steps. I got to 30. I think I'd even got a 35. I'd never got a 40. So when we go back in December, I'm going for 45. So yeah, honestly, it's the self-belief, and I think the confidence it gives people that you can give things a go. Yeah.
Comments.
You've nothing to lose.
Sparkle, sparkle back, sparkle return. Awesome to hear you describe your feeling your sparkle, other people seeing it. We can see you're beautiful. And you're lit up, by the way. You're lit up with your eyes and your smile. I'm watching you here, and you just look fabulous, Caroline. And you should be so proud of yourself. So proud.
I honestly feel really good. Really good. And I don't think I realized how flattened that I was, because that's not me. I'm really not like that. And I didn't like how I felt, but I'd got into a rut, and I knew I needed something, but I needed the right thing. And then I found TSD, and honestly, because that's why I've gone for Elite, because it's like I don't want this to stop, because I want to see how far I can go. But I want to enjoy the journey. It's not about
it's measuring those wins as we go, not little wins. Big wins as we go, because that's it.
It is.
And Caroline, actually, if you haven't got a jar of awesome, I want you to get one, which is a jar where you would post-its in it with every win that you've accomplished. I want you to ball them up, put them in a jar, and I want you to revisit the jar. That is something that means you can revisit your journey, like in a year, in 2 years, in 10 years. And I want to thank you for coming on, because
you're welcome.
So inspiring. You did this on no notice, and you've come on here and you've inspired so many people. Time for you to keep smiling. Lots lovely, lovely, genuinely kind messages coming through here.
Oh, thank you.
And if anyone is struggling, do message us the word starter kit for your free starter kit to get up and running. And have a wonderful night, everybody. Caroline, thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.